Let's start with Juneteenth. It did start in Texas, after all. It has become now a national holiday de facto, if not de jure. Give us a sense of how important this is to the black community in this country.
Well, thank you very much, David, and happy Juneteenth to you. It is de facto, and perhaps we will have it de jure. There are a good many members of Congress and the Senate who would like to see such occur. Juneteenth, of course, celebrates the day that General Gordon Granger came into Galveston, Texas, well armed, I might add, with about 2,000 soldiers to announce that the persons who were slaves were now free. And of course, this was a great occasion. The persons who found out about it started a celebration. One can only imagine how they felt knowing that they were now liberated. But a good many persons didn't find out that day. And there was speculation as to when it occurred. Some thought it might have been on the 18th, others the 19th. Hence, the name Juneteenth was adopted. I had the good fortune of knowing the father of Juneteenth in the state of Texas, Mr. Al Edwards, who was a state representative. And I happen to know that he took a lot of energy and time to cause it to become a holiday in the state of Texas. But it is. My staff is off today, saving those who are working with me, and they'll have another day off. But it is a holiday, and it would be a great thing, I think, for us to have a national holiday celebrating the date that the last persons to receive notice of their being freed. That would mean something to us in this country, I believe.
Yeah, and Congressman, as I understand it, a Republican from Texas, he is Senator Cornyn, has actually introduced a bill to that effect. It would be terrific to have a holiday for us all to reflect on the legacy here. At the same time, a holiday is not going to get it all done. Let's be honest. We have Dr. Martin Luther King Day, which is a wonderful thing, but it hasn't fixed the problems. What do we need to do to fix the underlying problems?
Well, let me mention a couple of things. The first would be the bill that we currently have that will deal with policing. This piece of legislation has some significant things in it that will be of great benefit to the country. I love my country. And in spite of all of the things that have happened, and because of a good many things that have happened, I love my country. This bill would eliminate no-knock raids in drug cases. Ms. Breonna Taylor did not celebrate her 27th birthday because of a no-knock raid. This bill would also ban chokeholds. Mr. George Floyd lost his life because of a knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. These kinds of things should not occur. We can't bring them back, but we can eliminate having these things occur in the future. And of course, we need a means by which we can track officers who do dastardly deeds. Not all do. No one is saying that all do, but those that commit dastardly deeds ought to be tracked such that they cannot continue to work in the profession of policing. These are some of the things that are important. Now, that is a good start, but that will not be the end. I do believe we need a department. We have a movement now that has great momentum, but if it is to continue, we need a department of reconciliation, so that we can have a secretary of reconciliation who reports directly to the president, just as the secretary of labor does, the secretary of defense, the secretary of education. And it would be the function of this person to develop a strategy and to implement the strategy to eliminate racism and invidious discrimination in all of its forms. The person would report to Congress biannually, semi-annually, and the person would also have a sizable budget to implement these strategies. I do believe that a department will help us into the future. In Germany, for example, there has been much reconciliation, but it is still going on. And as a part of this reconciliation, you don't see any statues of Hitler in Germany.
Right.
You don't have days that commemorate any aspect of Nazism. This is what we have to do in this country. Reconcile, come to terms with each other. It should have been done. It has not been done. I believe a Department of Reconciliation is an important step in getting it done.
As you say, Congressman, there are all sorts of issues to be addressed. Certainly the policing issue that both Republicans and Democrats are trying to address right now in Washington. There are various symbols that are very painful to our fellow citizens who are black. At the same time, there's also a great economic disparity, and we saw some of the practical effects of that economic disparity with the COVID-19. Blacks and Hispanics were much more at risk than white people, and it was because of socioeconomic issues, like the disparities in health care, disparities in their living conditions, things like that, even environmental concerns. What can be done about that?
Well, first, let me thank you for acknowledging it. The first step in taking corrective action is to acknowledge that there is a need to take corrective action. And you warmed my heart, to be quite honest with you, as I heard you go through the list, if you will, of things that minorities have suffered. Here's what can be done about it. We can have a healthcare system that will address the needs of all people when it comes to healthcare. Healthcare should not be wealth care, such that those who are well off, well heeled, and well to do will get the best healthcare in the world. And those who live in the streets of life, those who are among the least, the last, and the lost, they will get some degree of care. And to a certain extent, it's not healthcare, it is really sickness care that they get. And for too long, minorities in this country have received sickness care while a good many others have received health care. So we need health care for all as a right, not as a privilege. It is something that you should have because you are a child of a common creator and you are sick. I believe this can be accomplished. I would add one additional thing that can be accomplished. I do believe that it is very important for us to look at this virus and to make sure that minorities get the care that they need because we know it's impacting them disproportionately. We are not tracking properly. So we need to track and find out to what extent minorities are suffering from the COVID-19.
If I may, Congressman, I want to pick you up on that very point right now in Houston, in Texas, because we're seeing increased cases of COVID-19 that are alarming at least some people. Give us a report on where things are in Houston. Are you prepared for a possible spike up in COVID-19 cases?
Well, the governor indicates that we are, but here's my concern. I have a good deal of consternation with the possibility of our hospitals being inundated. And if this happens, if we reach capacity, the healthcare of not only those who are suffering from the coronavirus, but all other persons seeking healthcare will be impacted. I'm also very much concerned that while the governor has encouraged people to wear their mask when in the public, we don't have sanctions being imposed. The governor is not allowing sanctions. There should be some penalty for not wearing your mask in the public. We know that if you wear your mask, if you maintain good sanitation with your hands, if you maintain social distancing, you can have a positive impact on the virus. So my concern is that we are moving toward capacity. We're not near there at this point in time. But if it does happen, everybody will suffer who needs health care. And we must have some means by which we can do more than encourage people to wear masks. The president's going out to have a big rally and having people to sign statements that will limit liability. Well, I don't think that that's the way to do this. I think we have to take this seriously because we've already had a shutdown that's cost us trillions of dollars. And I do believe that we can do some things to minimize the possibility of a shutdown. And we're not doing enough because cases are spiking in Texas. We're having some of our largest numbers at this time.